Oh, this miserable life I lead, deadlines, commitments, stress. I must find a way to escape, if only for a while, to some deserted island, so I can feel the warm sensation of the sun on my back, the wind blowing gently upon my face, and the smell of a sea breeze entering my nostrils. I had heard about an island far away from the stress of city life. There are millions of acres, and one can pick their own acre, set up camp, or place their camper or motorhome there. No rent, no for sale. A place that is free to live at. As I check my finances, I discover through the years money I had saved and forget. It added up to at least $1 million. I was at work when the unbelievable happened. I was told due to shortages of parts one was to be let go. All those years I worked so hard to please my bosses, and now they let me go because of parts. Well, it's time. I had all the stress I could take, so I planned out my itinerary. I got loaded up the RV, told the post office to hold my mail, locked the house up, and off to a stress-free life. As I drove through every village, town, and city, I saw people running to work, trying to beat the deadlines, jumping ahead of everyone else. I could see the worry on their faces, and some of them clenching their chests in pain because they did not make it on time. As I drove on, I ran into many barriers which I thought were going to stop me from arriving at my destination, but I was determined I was going to make it no matter what happens. It seemed the odds were against me during my travels, but for every obstacle in my way, I brushed past it and kept going. Finally, I reached the island, and the ferry was there to transport me to the acre I had reserved just for me. Arriving there, I drove to the spot where I could park my RV. Once I got settled, I opened the windows and doors, and let the coolness of the breeze blow through my musty-smelling RV. I said to myself, I made it. I actually made it. After all those years of hoping and praying to escape the stress of the city, if only for a while. I rest well my first night. I saw others that came before me, and they made a promise to themselves to stay permanently, so I made up my mind. I have millions of dollars, I can sell my home, and have all my mail transferred here. God sent me here because He knew it was the right time, the right place, and the right conditions to make this move and stay the rest of my life. Here, I will live the rest of my life not in stress or confusion, but in peace and harmony with God and myself. The ocean is close by. I can hear the waves banging against the shore. I took off my shoes and let the seawater flow around my sore, tired feet. If I did not do what I did, there would not be any trees to climb, no mountains to conquer, no beautiful sunrises and sunsets to gaze at, so sand between my toes and no beach to walk on. I don't care if I die tomorrow. My earthly life and possessions can rot, because in heaven paradise lives forever. This morning I caught a fish. Its wiggly body thrashing back and forth until finally the fight was finished. I cooked him up in a pan. He was just the right size. As I was cooking, there was a knock on my door. It was a woman. Her blonde hair and blue eyes sparkled as the sun had shined upon it. Vonnie was her name. I invited her to sup with me and enjoy the fish dinner. She had told me all about her and all the stress she had to endure before coming to the island. I told my story of how I longed to get away from the stress of the city and find a place where peace can be found. We talked for the longest time until it was almost dark. She asked me to walk her to her acre, which was close to mine. She had an RV too. For months we spent time together, laughing, crying, and getting to know one another. One day we looked into each other's eyes and found out we had so much in common, and most important, we fell in love. A local priest presided over us as we took our wedding vows. She said I do, I said I do, and we embraced each other and kissed. Well, she moved her RV next to mine, and we used it for storage. Mine was brand new, and everything worked in it. That night we lit a candle by our bed. We were nervous because we were both virgins. We allowed our passions to lead us to make every move we made gentle, feeble, and as painless as possible. It was the most intimate time of my life. About 6 weeks, Bonnie became pregnant. Oh, the joy we felt for creating a new life together. After 9 months she produced a whopping 10-pound boy. We named him Alan. As he grew up and we grew older, we taught him the old ways of farming, hunting, fishing, and how to survive the wilderness. Bonnie and I knew we would not live forever. After many years, Alan had a life of his own. He had us buried in a local cemetery on the island. We taught him well, and we taught him good Christian morals and values. He comes to our grave to see us once in a while. As he sits there on the bench he had built and mourned our deaths. As he bathed in his tears of sorrow, he remembered everything we have told him, and soon his tears would turn into joy. Alan lived his life on the island. He married and had children, and his children had children. Generations of our family lived on in that little acre of land, but the 2 RVs were old, so he built a house that would last a lifetime for himself, his wife, and generations to come. Every now and then as I look down from heaven I see my grandchildren at play, at work, and at school. I saw how they had grown into godly children that went to church on Sunday. Bonnie and I did a good job raising our children, and all our generations learned how to live off the land, and survive perilous storms and heavy snow. I glanced over to Bonnie, her glorified body shining bright, and embraced her, and gave her a kiss. Just like old times, isn't it? I replied, yes, and because of those times we will live on through our children. Maybe one day when there is peace on earth, maybe we all can find our acre on an island, and live in harmony with God, and one another. An island where the water splashes against the shore, the sunrises and sunsets will create many sparkles on the water. Let the earth take that which is hers, for the spirit of every man, woman, and child has no ending.